Howdy, neighbors, my fellow global community. After all, in the words of the Red Green Show, we're all in this together. Although, it doesn't seem like we are. Based on the current state of affairs, not just within our own country, but around the world. Seems like we're letting politics, ideologies tear us apart. My name is Dwayne, and this is my WalkAway story. And I want to thank, first of all, Brandon for making this channel available, this opportunity to tell my story, as well as others. And I only hope that through the telling of all these stories, that others would start to think on their own and start to analyze the situation and walk away. My story begins in about 1974. I first joined the Teamsters Union in the state that I have always resided in, Alaska. And in those days, I was not interested in politics. I was more interested in fun and games, partying. And I was looking for the means to make the most money I could for the work I performed in order to continue the partying. Just keeping it 100. So, as a member of the union, I was a good union member. I did as I was compelled by my leadership. Vote Democrat, they said. The Democrats are our friends. And so, I did. I was very dutiful. I did as my masters compelled me to do. So, we had a major construction project up here at the time, the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline, and so there was jobs aplenty. And it really didn't matter who was in charge, who was in control, what party was in control, because the project was bigger than the politics at the time. But when that ended and we went back to the hard money jobs, I started noticing a trend. And that trend was that when the Democrats were in charge or in control, both locally, statewide, and nationwide, jobs were fewer and harder to come by. When the Republicans were in control or in charge, I went to work. Jobs aplenty. Well, this caused me to analyze what was going on, and as a result, in 1980, I woke up, and I walked away from the Democrat Party. I joined the Republican Party. And then, in 1984, I left the Union. I've got a real, as a result of my wokeness, if you will, using the modern vernacular for that, although I will say I don't understand the usage of it today, because it seems to me the people that are using it to self-identify as being woke really are still in a deep sleep. So to be truly awake or to be truly woke, you need to realize the truth. And so the truth is that the Democrat Party is not the working stiff's friend. That's what I realized. And then I realized as I started analyzing it deeper and further and going, beyond just my ability to work, but into philosophical things, I started realizing that the Democrat Party was not my friend in anything. Wasn't a friend of the United States. I realized as I educated myself that I was essentially a constitutionalist because I grew up in a state that breeds independence. So, that's the way I grew up. It's the way my dad was. Wouldn't take a handout from anybody. Made sure that he provided using his hands, his abilities that God gave him to provide for his family. And so that's the way I grew up, and that's kind of the way I've been. And the union took that away from me. I was accustomed to going out and having the employer use me in any means possible to get the job done. And it didn't matter whether I was crossing union boundaries. I went out and got the job done. If that meant I jumped into a dump truck or jumped into a piece of equipment or grabbed a hand shovel, got the job done. And that's the way we grew up here. But that was counter to the union. And one of the disadvantages to the union is you can only achieve a certain level based on the rules and guidelines set by the union. Well, that didn't sit well with me. I was a hard worker, and through meritocracy, through merit, I wanted to earn my way and improve my financial situation through my efforts. Meritocracy. There we go. Anyhow, well, the union stifles that. And all you got to do is look at for an example, is look at the teachers' unions. Right? Once they get tenure, you can't get rid of them, and it doesn't matter whether they're effective. In fact, you can look at the record and see that they're not effective, especially up here in Alaska. We have the worst outcomes, right? So the teachers get more money. We spend more money on education than just about any other state with the worst outcomes. So, when you start weighing those things, it'll help you wake up. I will say, though, that as a Republican, I got involved, got elected to the co-chair of my local precinct, then got elected to the district chair position, and then I went to a couple of state conventions. And I walked away from the Republican Party. I became an independent. And I remained that way for several years. 3-4 years ago, I rejoined the Republican Party because I realized that, as an independent, I really don't have a voice in anything. I can just go vote, right, for whoever seems the best candidate. But I wanted to be able to help the Republican Party get on the straight path. And so that's what I'm doing. And that's where I'm at now. I'm a Republican, and essentially that's my WalkAway story. And I hope that this helps somebody, especially if you're in the union, to sort of wake up, smell the roses, and recognize that there's a different side to the story than you're being told. And instead of just being a minion, a rank and file, go along in this almost socialistic enterprise, unions, right? I mean, think about it, right? You have a collective of a bunch of people paying dues to an elite small group of people that spend your dollars advancing their ideology, their causes, and you're just out there just doing the job. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whatever it might be. Read the Constitution. Understand that what's happening today is liberty is under attack, even if we have it anymore. But liberty is what this country has always been about. I recognize we've had some very serious problems, but I also recognize that it was this Constitution that we have that forms the style of government we have, supposed to have, that brought change. 600,000 young men and boys, old men, died bringing an end to slavery. The one party that has remained resolute in combating that change and bringing us together has been the Democrat Party. Understand that our Constitution was designed to bring e pluribus unum, right? From the many one. What does that mean? That we're all one thinking, one-minded? No. What it means is that I might not agree with what you say or what you do, how you live your life, but I will fight and die for your right to have your opinion. Now, you can't say that about the left today. They would rather criminalize my thinking. They would rather marginalize my viewpoints so that they can gain power. Think about it. Read, study, watch these videos. Open your mind. I know it's tough. I know it's a major pain point. But once you do, and once you recognize the truth will set you free. And you will be free indeed. Thank you.